A couple of days ago, we got the ending of Cobra Kai. So today, I'm going to be ranking each main character's ending in this tier list. So let's get into it. The tier categories we have dream ending. So those characters who had like the best possible ending we could think of. And I've got good ending, an acceptable ending, deserved a better ending, and ruined the ending. Something that was just horrific. Starting this off, we have Daniel LaRusso, whose ending I thought was good. I thought they gave him a really nice ending, the fact that he still gets to do the karate, that his car dealership is going really well, and that everything sort of goes into place, and he's finally accepted that Cobra Kai may be the way forward.
Stop acting like a little pussy and get out there and kick the living shit out of this asshole.
But he's also helped out Johnny and bought him the dojo. So yes, I think Daniel's ending was a good ending. I can't think of a scenario where it would have been better other than for him to be the one to win it. That would be the best ending for Daniel. But for me, I would say he has a good ending. Then we come to Kreese, who I've got to say had a dream sort of ending. He actually managed to repair everything, basically. He managed to make sure that Cobra Kai would go on by not letting Terry Silver get away with what he was doing, actually killing Terry Silver and him in the process.
Mercy.
Making up with Johnny.
I'm so sorry, son.
Before he went off to go and finish the business with Terry. Yeah, for me, I think they gave Kreese a dream ending, a redemption arc that worked really well, and it really affected the story, so I've got to say a dream ending for Kreese. Then we come to Carmen. I've got to say she had the dream ending, didn't she? She had the husband who's turned into a world champion.
My husband's the world champion.
They got a new house together. She had a baby. It went well.
Welcome to the valley, Laura.
Because there was a point in the season where you thought, is this baby going to be alright? Especially with the complications, the fact that Johnny and Miguel had to fly home. But they gave her this absolute dream ending. So for me, Carmen definitely got the dream ending. Then we got Terry Silver, and I've got to say, I thought he had a good ending. I thought maybe it could have been another way other than him just blowing up and left it to like the final battle would have been cool. Maybe it would have been Terry Silver versus Johnny in the arena. I thought that could have been a really good ending, but the fact they killed him off, the fact that he influenced the stories as much as he did, and I think it was the right time for him to go, I'm going to say he had a good ending. Then we come to Chozen, who I would say had a good ending as well. I think the fact that he got to influence everything in the finale and then gets to go and end up going to be with Kim and finally realizing that she's the one for him is a good ending. I think the only way it could have been better is if Kim had stayed in the US and then Chozen got to still be around Daniel, be around Johnny, and set up maybe his dojo there, so there was the three-prong senseis, as I like to call them. So for me, that was the reason why I give him a good ending. Speaking of Kim, we then come to her, and I've got to say, I want to say she also had a good ending. The fact that she's finally now the only sensei of her dojo, she gets Chozen to come over and they can finally be together, and it sort of is a nice ending for her. Obviously, I think the dream ending would have been that she could have got to this point without having to kill her grandfather, because, I mean, that's a bit twisted, but other than that, I would say she had a good ending. Then we come to the main character of Cobra Kai, the one we've been rooting for the whole way from the very beginning, from finally to get that redeeming arc, Johnny Lawrence, and he has to have a dream ending, doesn't he? It comes down to the Sekai Taikai, which everyone could see was going to happen, coming down to a draw, and then having the senseis fight out and Johnny finally getting revenge just on Sensei Wolf would have been a good enough ending. But the fact that he then gets this whole redeeming arc, that he wins it at the place where his misery started all those years ago because he lost the final. He'd made up with Kreese by the end. He's got a new daughter in the world. He's getting a house with Carmen. He's got a dream family now. Everything is just going Johnny's way, and so for that reason, they really did give him a dream ending and the perfect story arc for Johnny Lawrence from the Karate Kid to the end of the Cobra Kai. It's beautiful to see, so definitely give him a dream ending. Then we've got Amanda LaRusso, who I'm just going to say it's an acceptable ending because, I mean, there's not much you could really do with the character. She's kind of a main character, but also at the side. I mean, she's finally getting Daniel to do the business well, and he gets his dojo. Yeah, just an acceptable ending, I think. But it was nice to see her in the finale, proper cheering like a fangirl. Love that in that. Then we come to Miguel. Gotta be dream ending as well for him. His story arc perfectly completed, from winning the All Valley tournament at the very start to then having all those phases where he was paralyzed and everything wasn't quite going right, and then to finally get his redemption. Even in this season, to have that moment of suffering where he was not made captain and then seeing everything go wrong for him, maybe not being able to get into college, and then they've given him the ending where he becomes world champion of the Sekai Taikai. There we go. Gosh, I still can't say that word. I mean, we've had this season for like a year and I still can't pronounce that word. Anyway, back to Miggy, but to have him get into college is perfect. To have him win the Sekai Taikai tournament, be world champion, have this girl at the end be still with Sam, everything was going Miggy's way, and it's a really nice ending for him. Then we come to Robbie, who I'm going to say deserved a better ending, if I'm honest. Robbie has done everything possible. He started out on the good side of Miyagi-Do, he then switched sides to Cobra Kai. Nothing seemed to work. It was always second place, second place, second place, and then finally we thought things were going well for him in season 6. He finally became the captain. Everything was on the line for him, and then in the semi-final, which could have been the final, he then gets injured by Axel, who shatters his knee, so that's gotta hurt. So he didn't win it again. He's then told he's not likely going to get into college, which is just crazy. He then does actually get a sponsorship deal that means he can go around the world. But if Tory and him ever fell out in future, that would probably disappear as well. So I just feel like they could have given Robbie something, because he's given it all, and every time throughout every season he's just been so unlucky, and I would have liked to see him have a better ending. But at least he's together with Tory and he has that sponsorship deal, but I feel he deserves a better ending. Then we come to Sam, who I'm just going to say it's an acceptable ending. She gets to go to Japan, which obviously ties in lovely with Daniel LaRusso. She made up with everyone. I just would have liked to see her actually have a fight. I didn't like the fact that she ducked the fight because it's the Miyagi-Do way, but we're all honest, we wanted to see a Tory versus Sam final fight, which would have been nice, rather than them just training together. So for that reason, I'm going to say acceptable ending. Then we got Tory, who again has that dream ending, doesn't she? She makes up with everyone. She gets the better of Zara in the final, becomes the Sekai Taikai world champion for the girls as well. She gets the sponsorship deal. Everything seems to be going well. Makes up with everyone. Yeah. Dream ending for Tory. Then we come to Hawk, who I'm going to say has a good ending. The fact he's back together, the Binary Bros are back, he's on good terms with Dimitri, he's got the girl, he's got into a really good university in Caltech. I've got to say they gave him a good ending. I just maybe would have liked to see him have a bit more of a fight, but obviously he wasn't a captain, and there was no way when they had the chance to make a Cobra Kai captain they were not going to give it to Miggy. So I've got to say good ending for him. And then the final one, Dimitri, I will say good ending for him. Gets back together with Yasmin, although I think Yasmin should have stayed away from him. Cheating on her in Barcelona. Once a cheat, always a cheat is my rule. But he gets his good ending. He made the right choice to not go to MIT, but to go to Caltech and be with Hawk and have the Binary Brothers back together. So for that, I think he had a good ending. But there is my tier list. So that's how I would have ranked the main characters' ending. But what about you guys? Where would you have put the endings? Did you like the ending of Cobra Kai? Let me know all your thoughts on it in the comments. And if you want to try this tier list out for yourself, I'm going to leave the link in the description.
I'll be there to help you shine.